Well, good morning, friends and fans. I have my coffee, and all is right in the world. Well, I want to go over to my comments here and trying to look at who it was that sent me a comment about it was either, I can't remember if it was Darren or Adam Earl. Adam, I wanted to say big thumbs up. I appreciate you piping in with your ideas because a few of them have been quite useful. I want to say to Darren T, the only way I know of to render without the effect is to add another camera and connect each column to that. Didn't quite understand how to do that. So just so you know, I went into the schematic view and switched it over here, and I actually added a second camera to the scene. And then, not really clear on the the workflow here, with the idea being that we want to bypass the requirement of being in fully rendered mode like sorry, I need to switch screens. So normally when you're working in Opentoonz, this is what you see. It's controlled in the X sheet by these little icons right here. But when you do a render, which is controlled by these little icons right here, all the processing takes place, the post-processing takes place, the filters get calculated, and I was kind of exploring saving time for one thing, and there's other reasons, but the main reason is just saving time on the rendering part of being able to sort of render it in this, what I call the preview mode. The nomenclature is confusing because if you look here, the rendered mode is what Opentoonz calls the preview. And when you do a full render, this is what you get. So why they call it a preview, I don't have a clue. But anyway, so like I said to Darren, I'm not. If you could post a video and show the workflow of how that works, if that does in fact do what I'm saying I'm trying to do, which is, like I said, I just wonder if there's a way to render it in this mode instead of in the preview mode. So anyway, so there's that, and then I think Adam, going back here, and I have to stop this. There was something. Yeah, I think it was one of the links you sent me, Adam. Yes, it was the one about cleaning up the vector levels, and that was definitely quite useful. So the idea being that I didn't really realize this, but you can take your Opentoonz raster levels and literally cut and paste between toonz raster levels and toonz vector levels, and they simply instantly and magically just convert. Which the video that Adam sent me, what that showed you could do was, if you had, I'm not going to do it right now, but if you had vector lines where you drew a bunch of lines and they were sort of bleeding over each other, so you got two lines and they cross like this, but this little area on my fingertips, you actually want to clean it off so that you have a nice sharp shape like this, right, where you don't have those little ends sticking out. Which, by the way, when you spit ink lines out of Blender, you get those all over the place. You either have stuff that's not closed, so it's like this, or you got stuff that overlaps. It's very rare. It's perfect, and that's where the toonz vector levels are quite nice, is because they have a snapping feature. So when you're drawing a line, it just goes boop, and it just snaps to it. Doesn't work 100% of the time, but it does work most of the time pretty darn well. So what this video Adam showed me is, if you draw vectors and they overlap, okay, so that's assuming you're not using the either you're not using the snapping feature, or you're doing your original art in a toonz raster level. In any case, your lines overlap. If you cut and paste it into a vector level and back and forth, so you go either from a vector level to a toonz raster back to vector, so it converts it to a raster and then back to vector, or I assume, if you just did it directly from raster to vector without starting as vectors. Are you following this? Okay. Then this is no longer 2 vectors, it becomes 4. At this cross point, these little tips that are sticking out become separate vector objects, and so you can draw a lasso around them and just delete them, and then you wind up with a nice clean point. So when he showed me that, I thought, well, that's simple. All you got to do is just take your toonz raster level and, you know, cut and paste into a toonz vector level, and you're good to go. So the actual real world situation that came up for me where this became useful today was that in this shot, I should probably turn the background image back on here. So and just for completeness, we'll turn on his shadow. Okay, so what happens is this guy's that's climbing the rock wall, his foot slips, and then of course I thought this was kind of comical. We see the rock fall. We see the explosion, and then his eyes kind of turn upward towards his boss. Now the timing on this is not really correct. The motion after it hits the ground, his eyes go up. Problem is that this is one of life's little ironies. In this shot, we've got the long leg, and in this shot, we've got the foot. But for the in-between, we kind of need some of each. So I thought, all right, I'm going to take the opportunity to take what this tip that Adam sent me and put it to use and see if it works. And of course, by the way, we're going to have to redraw an extra keyframe in the shadow layer. But so this is what I did. I said, okay, let's just take this toonz raster level, select all of this, which I did. I hit the S key and I just lassoed it, okay, and then I just hit Control C and pasted it into a toonz vector level that I had already created. And you know, lo and behold, it looks about the same. So as far as the conversion from raster to vector, I can't complain. It looks pretty good. By the way, I should probably look over here and see if there's anybody that's like watching or anything. It looks like I'm live now, and I gotta mute that. Hey Oscar, what's going on, brother? Alright, so now we've got, so in other words, all the outlines converted over just fine to toonz vector. Now you might be wondering why I did that. Here's the reason why. It's kind of silly actually, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to have the whole leg and use the plastic tool on it and just do my keyframe, and then maybe I could put an extra bone here and animate the toe, and maybe even have a couple extra keyframes. So I'm like, why not save some time that way by wasting a lot of time learning about the conversion, you know, from toonz raster to toonz vector. So that's my goal, is to waste as much time as possible in order to save time. That kind of wisdom definitely calls for a shot of coffee. So, with that, what I did was I took this new toonz vector level, and I said, well, let's just click this. Actually, use the C key, hit the C key to grab the Bezier curve, and I just took it and stretched it up like that. It's like, well, that was too easy. So I did that to both of them, because remember that the toonz vector levels essentially have an infinite canvas. So basically, it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm fiddling a bit here with this Bezier curve, but now what I want to do is connect these two, and yeah, I had to do a little extra work on the I'm gonna have to do a little extra work on the paint, but no big deal. So actually what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna sample that so I make sure I've grabbed the right color. Now I'm gonna hit the B key, and since I've got snapping on vector levels, I can just snappy poo. And now that would have been cleaner. Actually, if you're curious, this is actually the way to do it cleaner. You could hit the G key and use a polyline, so you could kind of go like that, yada yada. I mean, I'm absorbing so much information right now that I feel like a total idiot, um, but anyway, thank you retroactively for mentioning that, Oscar, because I'm sure you did. And so anyway, what I want to do is I'm going to use the snapping and a couple other features of the brush tool with vector levels to my advantage, which is number one. Actually, need to make sure I hit the B key. If I hit the B key, I get to snap, and then if I hit the shift key, look at that. Okay, I get the best of both worlds. Okay, I get it snapped and I get a straight line, and if I want I can hit the C key and actually make a modification of that right there. So that takes care of that. Now I'm gonna say this probably I'm thinking S key. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna okay, that's cool. I guess that's kind of sort of what I wanted, isn't it? Alright, I'm gonna move this. Okay, just to make sure that I'm getting what I think I'm getting. One thing that's a little interesting here is that this color does not seem to have full alpha. Okay, so this is not a bug, this is a feature. And the feature is that Opentoonz outside of the drawing area puts a little bit of ghosting on it so you can actually still see your what do they call the pegboard, I guess, or whatever. So, alright, so now what I need to do is draw the wraps. And I'm going to compare that to here, because I remember I had a bit of a pattern to it. There's basically wipe, wipe, Y, wipe. Okay, and what do we have here? Yeah, it doesn't really relate very well. So, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and draw this with the brush, and then we'll just redo all those keyframes with the yes, I really can finish my sentence with the plastic tool. We'll use the plastic tool to just redo the keyframes. One thing I want to do is turn up my smoothing. Probably stupid of me to not have the smoothing up higher for a situation like this where you really do want to have fairly perfect lines. Okay, so that entire process, now obviously you didn't witness the conversion or me painting in the sandal, so take my word for it, it only took like probably 2 minutes. So this whole process of going from toonz raster to vector only took a couple minutes, which is pretty cool. Okay, so now there is one problem. I want a shadow in there. So I kind of forgot about the shadow. So what I'm going to do is see if I can cheat here a little bit by going what do I want to do here? I want to, what is the selective thing? That must be, yeah, that's with the fill tool. I was thinking there was an option with the brushes. Maybe it's only, yes, it's only in the toonz raster level. Yeah, that was confusing me. Yeah, you get this selective thing. So here, it's going to be a little bit more problematic because I already drew all these lines in there. So I think I'm hosed. Whoops. And that's actually the wrong color. I need a little bit darker color. So let me go back here. Oh, I see. Turn that back on. Yeah, that's the color. Did I color this the wrong color? I think I did. Freehand. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now this makes a little more sense. Okay, that'll kind of sort of work. I'm going to fill it and then decide if it's okay. Because we're going to lose our outlines, I think. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, see, so technically you could nitpick this to death, but actually that's no big deal. That's not going to matter. Okay, so let's go back to the fill tool. And why isn't this one filling is the question. Something about this. This is the Opentoonz vector gremlin hitting right here. Well, I did notice that these were the lines I drew, or that got converted over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take those out. And let's just, instead of being stupid, let's go ahead and redo these lines. Okay, let's get rid of them. If you're going to do it right. So much for saving all that time. Okay, fill that. I gotta be in normal mode. Okay, that was brain dead. Alright, so now I believe we want to grab this color and we'll put the lines on. My live stream is offline, and OBS Studio keeps disconnecting and reconnecting. Makes me wonder if OBS has a feature to like beep in your headphones when it goes offline, just so you're warned. Okay, so now I'm going to come back here, and from here to here, if you can believe that. So it's just going to be that. So this is an exercise in deciding whether it's worth spending a lot of time doing something just to add one keyframe. Let's find out. Build skeleton. Okay, so general policy with building a skeleton is to put the anchor for the skeleton somewhere separate from your stuff that you want to deform. I guess what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to try to do this in the most intuitive way possible. So this might backfire, but and actually, okay, we need an anchor. First, let's just see. You know, the good thing about the skeleton tool is you can fiddle with it and just see if it's kind of sort of working. Yeah, that's okay. That's going to be all right. And then if we turn like that, see, that works. So the main thing is, if we're going to do it this way, I wonder if we should hit the A tool on the plastic layer. Yeah, I guess so. Okay. So I'm going to change its center. So this is the center is up here. I think that's what I want. And then if I rotate it, it's going to rotate like that. So, all right. So now back to the plastic tool. X key. And I believe I already changed that. So to make this kind of sort of somewhat accurate, I'm actually thinking a couple things here. One is, why don't we put the shadow in the vector layer? We'll deal with the shadow layer later. Okay, so the one problem we have here with our building is that's supposed to, so that's out of sync. Okay, so let's just address that right now. That should be there. That should come down. Hey, by the way, if anyone knows how you can, like how you could drag this, if this had some empty slots in it, and you drag this down, but you didn't want the ones lower down to be pushed down, how do you do that? I've tried to figure that out and haven't tried very hard, admittedly, but Okay, so now this is where we got to end up. So I'm thinking A key. Okay, that's what I did wrong. I actually want to put the center roughly where I put the center for the... forget that. Forget that idea. We'll just move it. Tool or plastic tool. Might prove to be somewhat unwise. But let's just see how it flows. And I want to hide that, by the way. Okay, I definitely like that better. If we really wanted to be fancy schmancy about it, we would probably do something like that. And I'm gonna even say that maybe we should go more extreme with it, like so. So that actually looks pretty good. Alright, cool. Have this. I'm just gonna set a set and stop marker so I can loop it. Yeah, so call me a non-anime freak, but honestly I like the way that looks better. Now, of course I do. I'm you know I like, yeah, hey dude, hey Darren. Oh no, I'm not gone. I'm just is this stupid thing not working again? Okay. I am here. Okay. Yeah, so the OBS, man, it's flaky. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's probably, I don't know if it's OBS or if it's YouTube, but because obviously OBS has to connect to YouTube. And, okay, so basically, I'm gonna say I'm happy with it. You would have to do some definite modification of the bone system if you wanted to go ahead and eliminate this keyframe as well. But the next thing we need to do is make sure that the piece breaks out in the right spot, because as you can see right there, that really, I actually shouldn't have corrected it. I should have left this here. Yeah, there you go. That's what you want. So we'll slide that up there. Yep, cool. Yeah, because what happens is I'm running OBS right here, transition. So you can see I'm running OBS, and it every once in a while what happens is it just disconnects from YouTube. So anyway, but that looks really good actually. I like that. So now we got to deal with the shadow. Here we've got our shadow, and the way I did the shadow was with a simple my paintbrush. Well, you can actually see the keyframes right here. So it's literally nothing more than a really big, pretty transparent brush. So now the question becomes, do we need extra keyframes in there? I don't know if we do. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go plastic tool crazy today. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? So I'm going to create a mesh on this shadow. And I'm going to hit apply. I can't even believe I'm doing this way. But it does solve the problem. So now I've got to create the bones. Boom, 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 boom. And now we're going to animate. Okay, so we'll go here. And now we got that. And I just want to, I actually need to change this so it doesn't say keep distance. Look at that. It's so stupidly easy. I love it. And then we got to stretch it back down there. Actually, one bone is dependent on the other, so. But that's like way, I hate to say it's easier than redrawing it, but it actually is. Okay, you got a couple comments here. OBS is resource intensive, works better by itself running capture. You know what though? You mentioned that before, Oscar, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and hit the task manager. And I'm going to put OBS on its own. We'll go over to here. I'm going to actually put OBS on its own CPU because it's stupid to have this running on 12 CPUs. So let's just go put it here and here. Let's give it 4. That's probably ridiculous. Yeah, so there it goes. It's back on now, I think. Okay, when I've done it in the past, it worked better to do the OBS on my old laptop while doing the drawing or gameplay on my gaming laptop. The problem with that is that I'm doing a screen capture of two screens on this computer, so I would have to have a camera on the well, I would have to have some sort of connection of those screens over to OBS running on the laptop. So I'm not sure. You might have to give me either a YouTube video or a better description of how you would do that. And I mean, I'm pretty technical, you know, so I will understand it, but just the way you're describing it there, I'm not seeing how you're getting the signal from the computer that's doing all the work with possibly multiple screens over to the laptop that's running OBS. Okay, so I get that you want to use OBS on a different machine for the number crunching, but how do we stream the video files, as it were, the video streams over to that laptop? Okay, so back to work. So now that we did that, look at that. That looks so good, it's stupid. And all we had to do was play with the plastic tool for like 1 minute. Okay, so now the only downside here is that Valerie's going to get mad at me because it looks too good. And I'm not joking. That if it looks too good, it runs the risk of not looking like an anime. And so we want to be careful about getting too many keyframes in there. Okay, the one thing I still want to change though is we're going to take this one vector drawing and I'm going to hit the S key. Oh, we can't edit it now that the... Oh, but what we can do is go into the drawing. Okay, that's a tip. This should be an Opentoonz quick tip, actually. The quick tip is once you've applied the plastic tool to a level, so I've got this animation going on. The problem is I've realized, well, I want actually to make these outlines a little bit thinner so that they match the quality of the line when we get to this keyframe. Okay, see how they're a little thicker? Well, the problem is I cannot edit the level now. Now that the plastic tool has been applied to it, I cannot make changes to this level. But what I can do is go into the drawing and change that. So that's what I'll do. And frankly, I think all I need to do is change this part. And that's what this little tire pump is for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in quite a bit. And now I'm going to use Adam. I think it was Adam's tip. He said use the tilde key to go to full screen mode. Good tip, man. I like it. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and grab actually all of those outlines. I'm going to take the tire pump and bring them down. Wish there was a way of knowing exactly how thick they became. I guess all we can do is compare. Yeah, they're still too fat. Okay, so, but we're a little better than we were. So I think I've got to do it up here. Yeah, this says 2.14. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change that to 1. At least there we can do it with some precision, right? I think that's probably going to be better. Let's see. I think so. Let me zip back. Yeah, that's a convincing transition. So anyway, this is why I'm okay. Look, okay, I'm looking at your comment now, Oscar. work on it and see if I can do a video tonight. Should be pretty easy. Also, restream.io to broadcast simultaneously. Yeah, I mean, if you want to take the time to do that, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it, and I will look at it. And because I do have, you know, I could have my other laptop over here. I mean, technically and there's actually an 8-core Gen 8 Intel machine that's faster than this 12-core machine sitting right next to it. If there's a way to work it out so that we offload some of the number crunching, that would be totally cool. Alright, so anyway, I'm really happy with how that looks. So let's have a look at the whole scene from beginning to end and see how amazing it is. Stop marker, L key. See, it almost seems like, see how his eyes look up, but then it really needs to hold. I'm gonna just add some more frames right now because this is silly to have this leaving it incomplete. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drag across here. Ostensibly, that will cause me to pick up any levels that just happen to be visible in the last frame of the scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 solid second to it, so that means 24 frames. So that'd be 127. So I'm going to go here, draggy, draggy, draggy down to 127. Reset my stop marker. We'll see if it feels better. And by the way, I do want to mask out the other junky poo. Okay, that looks good. See, now it's funny. Now it's funny. It's just amazing. I love the full screen mode. I remapped it to F11, same as other programs. I'm fine with using the tilde key myself. I was going to mention it the other day when you were moving frames in the X sheet. Yeah, definitely. I wonder if it's like Blender where it depends on which window you're moused over. So like if I mouse over the images and hit tilde, yep. So it's whichever one. Oh, that's cool. I think people should be large and smaller. I thought that. Yeah. Are you thinking, okay, if we're gonna do this in real time, let's do it. Okay, so my question is, are you thinking that they should be bigger at the beginning of the shot, and then while it's falling, they should gradually shrink down? Or should they stay big, and then when he looks up, it'd be like a parrot where his eyes... I don't think that would be what would happen. So if we're going to do that, I believe this is kind of convenient because I already put the pupils on a separate level for this very reason. So which level is it here? That's the rock. I believe that's the... oh, that's the pupils. Okay. So there he's looking up, and I believe up here he's looking down. Okay, so OTUs is all in one place. I don't know if they're all in one place. According to YouTube, there are 3 people watching, and if that's all the Opentoonz users, then we need to go recruit a few new ones. That would be pretty sad. But in any case, okay. So Oscar, I need you to elaborate. You're saying the pupils should be large and then get smaller. Do it anime style. Start large and jump quickly to small with the anime action lines for surprise. Yeah, see, I thought about that too. This is one of those details I just hadn't gotten to yet. Because I'm sure you're correct. I need to show this to my actually my manager is walking in the room right now. My manager, my partner. Okay. So Oscar's making the point. Okay, actually a couple things here. First of all, I hope you don't think that's too much motion because adding those keyframes really made it look better. Okay, so what Oscar's saying is, yeah, thanks, Oscar. Um, Dino, um, I'll address that elsewhere because I have downloaded 1.2 and I'm just not using it right now. I have it on this machine. But anyway, so what he's saying is something with the eyeballs. Let's look at the whole thing. You can see the rock falls, and I made this a little longer so when he looks up you sort of get the humor of that. But what he's saying is make the pupils bigger, as he says, anime style, and then have them shrink. And I'd have to think about when the shrink would actually take place. Would they like go whoop as the rock is falling, kind of thing?
Yeah, if you're doing that normally, but frankly, you could just not have them change that much to begin with, other than they're changing as they're looking down at the angle that you're.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Let's play with that. There's no harm in doing that. This could actually be kind of funny. So let's just say this would actually be pretty humorous. So let's just say we have something like that. I'll bet you this is gonna play pretty well. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's kind of sort of the right idea. Okay, we actually need a transitional keyframe probably about here where he follows the arc of it. Yep.
It doesn't look the best, so you definitely want to have a little bit more.
Okay. I will fine tune this later.
I wouldn't say do the full on anime eyes.
Yep.
In between probably be good.
Yeah, see, by introducing rotation here, I've sort of screwed up where the eyes are pointing a little bit.
Yes.
I may regret that. But anyway, good call, Oscar. I think you got a good idea there. Frankly, I'm actually thinking I should scale them a bit. And then up here, we'd want to restore the scale. I might be kind of beating this to death, but you know, if it's a good idea, it's a good idea, right? Okay, and then that keyframe has to be deleted, obviously. Okay, yeah, the rotation, I'm not liking that. So to be safe, I think what we should do here is just delete these two keyframes and start over. What we can see from the get-go is that the eyes have never been right. This is one of those things that sort of slips by you until you you know, take the time to actually tweak things. And now whoever's watching, you may think, well, that's pretty stupid. I mean, look at his eyes. Look at they look stupid, right? What was I thinking? Well, I was moving fast, that's all. So I'm gonna fix this right now. Let's hit the E key. Better make that smaller. Let's just erase that. And now let's just not be stupid. And by the way, let's also use the correct brush. Correct brush. So, and we may go back in. What I can do is print a screen capture and draw it. It looks like his iris should look like a cat says when something goes wrong. Yeah, okay. Yeah, shoot it to me, man. That would be cool. So let's look at this at actual size. Okay, actual size is okay. Actual pixels. And now I want to take this. I'm going to just tune this up a little bit. Okay, that gives us a starting point. And remember, we can always we can always, if we get the animation of the movement right, we can always go in and change the look of the eyes later too. So it's no big deal. So now with that, and the fact that he's slightly cross-eyed, I don't really mind that. Now let's see. So this is where he looks back up, and frankly, I'm thinking we need to just get rid of this keyframe entirely. And just stretch all this down, and then do it all with the Animate tool. And then that way, later, we can change the eyes and everything will just propagate. So, cat animations like Tom and Jerry, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, it kind of goes in like that or something. I actually, it's funny you should mention that, because check this out, dude. Tom and Jerry. This little DVD collection, every Tom and Jerry cartoon ever created is in here. Got this for my kid years ago, and he'd watch these Tom and Jerry cartoons in the minivan. So anyway, alright, so now we're going to use the Animate tool, and we're only going to use motion. We're not going to use rotation at all. So we want to keep this as simple as possible. So for my purposes right now, what I'm going to do is only try to get his eyes, just get his eyes to follow it. Why does it keep switching back to scale mode? Unfortunately, we pretty much have to have a slight rotation there. So I wonder, okay, that still looks okay though, so. Alright, and then I believe, I could be wrong here, but I think what we want to do is put in a keyframe here, and Control C, Control V, because what I'm thinking is, insert paste, what I'm thinking is that there's a slight hesitation, and then, whoops, I should be using my mouse right now, not my tablet. Yeah, I like that. I always like, if I want it to be funny, I always like it to be move and hold. You don't want everything to be flowing in animation. One of the greatest flaws you see over and over, especially in CGI animation or in games. You know, you get these games where they do a bunch of motion capture, and it's so stupid because the actors, this is how the actors in game motion capture, this is how they act. This is how people stand still in a game. It's like, how stupid can you be? No human being would ever do that, but the animators must think that, well, if we don't have a move, you know, what are we getting paid for? It's stupid. People hold still, right? They do something, and then you see what they did, and then they react, and they hold for a second. And the only way you can digest the comedy of it is if there's a hold. So, like I said, I'm smart, but I'm not quick. So I don't know if this is exactly the right answer. It could be that what we really want to do to kind of definitely make this funny is make this a fairly quick, well, if it's half a second, that would be 12 frames. So here we're at 43. So actually, it should actually be about that speed. I just said actually twice in a row. And that's way too slow. Way too slow. So I'm going to bump that up to there. Oh, I see what the problem is. My bad, folks. I really want constant interpolation. So let me see what we have from here to here. So why did that look like it was interpolating the whole time? Nope. So as you can see, guys, there's two ways to play this comedically. One way would be the move and hold technique, which says he realizes what he's done, boom, checks it out, that really sucks, and then he's going to look up at his partner and realize I'm in big trouble now. So he's going to look up right about here. Okay, stop. I literally have the wrong level selected. How is that freaking possible? Delete that. How is that possible? Oh my goodness. Wow. This sort of thing drives me bananas. I've got it selected here, but then when I go grab it here, it's actually selecting the wrong level. And, well, fortunately, because I guess maybe I hit escape, so it didn't create a keyframe. But, okay, let's turn this guy back on. Is it because it was turned off? Who knows? Okay. So once he digests what has happened, which is going to be about here-ish, now he's going to look up. Now, I have this column selected. We can confirm that that's the eyeballs. And yet, when I go to drag it, it's grabbing a different level entirely. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that makes me just want to scream. It's like, okay, escape or Control Z. How do I get Opentoonz to stop grabbing that column? Wow! Do I have to actually do something I've never ever had to do before and lock every other column just to keep Opentoonz from manipulating the wrong one? It's ludicrous. Okay, so that is the correct. That is the correct column, level, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now what we want to do is we don't want to have a gradual movement, obviously. Actually, maybe we do. I'm going to put in a keyframe here. I wonder if we got a hotkey for that. Yeah, we really don't. Okay. So, Control C. Yeah, I know. Loris, thank you for that comment. That is absolutely correct. Insert paste. Yeah, because see, initially I had him, he's looking down and he okay, so let's see if I was acting this. He's going like this and he's you know, then he kind of looks up at his partner, right? So he's looking down and does this. But now I'm thinking, once the explosion happens, for him to go like that almost makes more sense. Let's just see how it plays. Hit the L key and let's run it a couple times. Nope, 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 not in a hurry. I find when this happens you have to change the drop down and it falls back. Yeah. Well, locking the levels seem to do the trick. Okay, so now this is absolutely wrong. Partly because it started way too soon. And, I mean, obviously it would not begin until after the, I call it an explosion. It's really not an explosion, but let's say after the explosion happens. So somewhere in there. Okay. And like I said, we could play it fast or we could play it slow. I'm going to play it medium, which is probably definitely a bad idea, but let's see. Yeah, I definitely don't like that. Kinda, sorta, maybe. Kinda, sorta, maybe. Let's speed. By the way, one thing I've noticed in Opentoonz is you have to grab the key, then click again to drag it. Otherwise, you get very sketchy results. All right, so from here to here, that's not bad. Okay, I think I'm back on now. Reconnection successful. So yeah, I used to badmouth Opentoonz because it's one of those deals where when you first use it, you run into, I mean, there's a lot of buggy, wacky things that you run into. The best thing at this point I can say about Opentoonz probably is that it is actually fairly fault tolerant. When things go wrong or get jerky and things seem to be locking up, more often than not, you can close it and reopen it and everything's back to normal and it's no big deal. In fact, it happened yesterday. In the quick tip that I posted yesterday, I went to do a render, you know, just an offline render, so it would be, and I'm rendering all 1,000 frames because I wanted to see what would happen. Frankly, I figured it would crash Opentoonz. So I go in and I just hit Control-Shift-R to render. It gets to frame 50 and Opentoonz crashed. But all 1,000 frames, an hour later I went back and they were all there in the folder where they were supposed to be rendered to. So even though Opentoonz told me it crashed, it actually finished the job. So okay, so what I'm thinking is this would be cooler if it was more gradual. So I'm just gonna, the cool thing is we can set a couple markers here, and I think we'll just let it run all the way to the end so we can just keep running it over and over and fine tune it. Okay, so what I want to do is go, that's not bad because now his eyes are sort of synchronized with the fall. Uh-oh. Okay, the only thing I can say is maybe this last transition should be quicker. Alright, so I don't want it to be an instant transition like a traditional anime type of timing. Yes, that looks good. And then I think, whoops, I didn't mean to change that. Okay, I think this should actually probably be deleted. Put this up here. I keep double clicking by accident, or as we say in Indiana, on accident. I never understood that. I grew up in Michigan and we would say something happened by accident. In Indiana people say something happened on accident. Take your pick. Okay, L key. So that looks good. I love that. Almost thinking even more. I actually think his eyes might still be moving when the poof happens. So do we have a spot here where it's locking up? Let me just actually use the arrows. Okay. You know what I think would be funny? Right here, I'm going to try something. I'm going to insert a keyframe here. So that it goes right here. I want it to stop. Okay, I'm going to loop this. What's going on here? I find that when that happens, you could see my Darren T just uploaded. Hey, good man. Yeah, this is becoming quite a little self-help group. All right, where am I? I need to click here. I hit the L key. Okay, so I just want to get this timing. Okay, there does need to be a hold at the bottom. But I kind of like the idea that because when his eyes are lagging slightly behind, it feels like maybe he's processing what's about to happen. Like this is not going to go well. So we have that keyframe there. And what I was going to do is Control C. I wonder if you can control drag these. Nope. Okay, so I definitely need to put in a hotkey. That's actually kind of interesting. Yeah, because it's almost like his eyes reacted to the poof. Yes, absolutely. Figuring out the UI. Yeah, it's actually only this week, I would say, the last 2 to 3 days, where I feel like I have enough of a handle on the Opentoonz interface that I can pretty much do what I want to do. You know, it's not like less time is being spent figuring out how to do what I want to do, and I can spend more time just deciding what I want to do. But I'm going to go back to the top of this shot and set the start marker, do a review, and I think I'm probably done fiddling with this shot for today. Let's go ahead and run it through a couple times. So his foot goes, down it goes. I see one of the problems. This is interesting. One of the problems that I see here is that my eye is directed to this, not his eyes. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We want to see what's going to happen here. But I need to think about this. How are we going to direct people's attention to the rock? But then, what we really want to do is have a way to direct people's attention to the rock until it's pretty small, and then redirect their attention right up to him. It's almost like, I'm going to go way out on a limb here. Let's hit the L key again. First of all, let's save everything. Still drinking my coffee. What if, I'm really going to go out on a limb on this one. Okay, what if we grab our camera? Let's grab we've got our Animate Tool, A key, and what I'm going to actually grab is camera 1. Okay. I'm going to insert a key here, and I'm going to insert a key here. That way the camera is from a known start position, and I'm just going to... Wait a second. Did it just insert a key? Anybody know how we... Alright, I got to hit Control Z to see what just happened. Okay, so anyway, I assume that I am inserting keys for the camera right now. So I've got the A key. I don't know visually how to know that that's happening. The only way that I can think of is to, if I insert a key, to look over here and see if it erroneously inserted one on one of the levels. But what I'm thinking is, I'm going to grab camera 1 again. Should I do a 3D move? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to do this. Whoops. Okay. I'm going to do a slight move. I'm probably going to wind up undoing this because I have a feeling it's not going to work very well. And obviously I don't have a lot of room outside of the frames to dink with it. So did it insert a keyframe for me? Yeah, that's not going to work. And then basically you'd get here. Yeah, this is going to definitely require this is going to require a lot of keyframe work if I was going to pull it off. And then I would go here, and then just a few frames later, I would scale this back out. Darn it. Come on. Scale. Okay, so now what I have to do is reset everything. Let's just go 100. And on position, what would this be? 0? Hello? Yep. I think 0 here, 0 here. Yes, there we go. That got it back to normal. Okay, so guys, this is probably going to be completely screwy. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I just haven't... There's no need to go to the function editor yet because, you know, just double-click the keys. And I'm pretty comfortable working with the function editor. Let's see. I'm looking at how the... I'm looking at how this does what it does, because what I want to do is simply delete all of that keyframe data. So far as I can tell, that should do it. Delete. Did it work? Looks like it almost worked. It almost worked. It looks like a little bit of a scaling operation still snuck in there. So, oops, I don't want the schematic. I want the function editor. Back to camera 1, and it says... I wish there was a way to, like... Oh, there we go. Can we... Yes, we can select a whole column. Fantastic. Fantastico. I'm just going to delete everything, because I assume the default would be to leave the camera where it's supposed to be, you know, normally kind of thing. So, okay. Alright, I don't want to select camera 1 anymore, and I don't want to select, use the A key / animate tool. So, you just asked how you type a key for the camera. I didn't know if you'd seen the camera on there. Well, what I was basically asking is there a way to see the camera and any associated keyframes in the X sheet? But like, I don't know where you would visualize that in the same way that you visualize the keys that show up on the other levels. But anyway, let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so why do we have that indicator right there? That looks pretty good. There's a problem. I know what happened. Okay, folks, I know what happened. That's what this was. I deleted a key that I shouldn't have deleted. Okay, yeah, my bad. This image that was in the background, oh, come on. Select what you're supposed to select, will ya? Okay, now it's determined to select the camera every time. So I gotta force it to select column 1. And I have no idea where this was. So I'm gonna have to do what's known colloquially as winging it. Yeah, this was scaled up a lot. I literally have no idea what this was. So, no big deal. Okay. See you later. Alrighty. Yep, my baby is heading off to bed. Okay. So yeah, totally spinning my wheels right here, wasting everyone's time. I'm going to... I mean, really, actually, according to the drawing, it should be something like this, in terms of where these guys are located. Because this monastery that our monastery is based on is it's based on a real monastery in Tibet, actually. Okay, how can you tell? There is using a hack. Okay, got it. Okay, so I think that's probably okay. Yeah, that looks good. So we've solved that. File, save all. So my bad. Sorry about that, folks. I shouldn't have deleted that key. However, all in all, pretty happy with the way this scene is turning out. Let me... That's interesting. In deleting my keyframes, which I was quite certain were all associated with the camera, it appears that I've undone some other stuff. For one thing, I have 2 images now. So it appears that all my plastic tool animation is gone. Okay, that's annoying. It'll only take me 2 minutes to get it back, so it's not a big deal. when you generate the mesh, what you do is you add a vector object that just fills in the whole screen, and then the plastic tool will generate a mesh for the whole screen, and then you can delete the vector object later. So similar kind of hack. Anyway, I got to turn this back on, and as ridiculous and insane as it is, I actually have to regenerate my keyframes, which totally sucks because who can ever do the same thing twice, right? But we're going to try. We're going to try. And should be kind of, sort of, somewhat possible by doing something like that. Was kind of, sort of what we had. So when I deleted the keys, it deleted a bunch of stuff I didn't mean for it to delete. So again, no big deal. All I got to do is hit the X key here. Okay, back here. Slight move. Again, sorry if anybody that was here earlier having to sit through this twice. It's kind of a bummer, but whatever. It is what it is. Okay. Look at that. Is that great? Alright, so now we can kill that. Hide that. And we're back in business. Okay, I'm going to look at the comments here real quick. Then you can animate the camera count using... Well, yeah, the other thing you could do, I would actually imagine, is you could... it seems like Joshua Shute had a video about this, but I believe that the upshot of it was you insert a peg bar, and doesn't the peg bar show up in the X sheet? I think. Anyway, but it seems like in the schematic view you should be able to link the camera to any level. So this is another thing that's worthy of a what I call a quick tip. If I jump over here, okay, we don't want the effects. So yeah, we should be able to parent the camera to another level, like something like that. I'm not going to do it right now, but something like that, whereby animating using the Animate Tool on that level would also affect the camera, because it would just chase it. So anyway, the good news is I was able to restore that animation very quickly, and I frankly think it looks even better than it did before. We got this thing going on, and as expected, thank you function editor, as expected, I kind of knew this was going to happen. All the keyframes for the pupils are gone as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my work. That way I'm committed to the screwed up version of the file, and now I can completely redo all of the... Alright, let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, and the basic concept is he's going to follow it down here. So let's let him follow. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is take this, pull this down a little bit, and insert a key here. And what I want to do is just duplicate this key so that there's no interpolation, there's no motion between them. I guess that's just Control V. So there's a little bit of a delay before he realizes what's going on. Second later, insert a key, and he looks up at his partner. So okay. Oh, it has to wish this was a Google Hangout so any ideas could be shared. Oh well. Yeah, I've had like 3 things today that have been worthy of like Opentoonz quick tip kind of deals. Okay, save all. Let's preview it. That looks good. I didn't catch the eyes though. Okay, that's too quick. I mean, actually, I'm sorry, opposite. It's not quick enough. Geez, that just needs to be just a few frames. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I don't like that, so I'm going to take this, move that down even more. Just going by feel here, and I'm trying to move quickly so that I'm going to say I want an interpolated change here that's very, very slight. Yes. Then that locks. And I think just to be safe, I want to hit Control C here and Control V because I think this key would be wrong at this point. Alright, hit the old L key. Okay, that works. I did the eyeball animation off a screen capture. I'll add the interpolation on later on my cool. I should say, yeah, I can be I don't know if this is helpful, but let's go in here and there's the eyeballs. So I'm gonna add another frame here. Okay, you ready, guys? And actually, I'm gonna erase these, and I'm gonna put David Weiss at Premiere Media Design, that's all one word, .com. So if you want to send me a link or something, that's the best email address to use. So anyway, back to the tippy top one more time through, and I think I'm going to actually wrap it up for today here in just a minute after I run this through a couple times. Yeah, one thing that's for sure is that all your attention is drawn to the rock, not his eyes. But, you know, all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. Good progress. Save early, save often, and I think with that, I'm going to call it a day. Yeah, it's been almost an hour and a half, and I may be back later in the day, but I have a few other things I need to get to. So with that, friends, I will bid you adieu and catch you later here on YouTube.